Going to call the Tuesday, April 14th meeting of the Holyoke School Committee to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Here.
Dr. Vericalone.
Here.
Mr. Sheehan.
Present.
Ms. LaFave.
Present.
Ms. LaRon Martinez.
Here.
Ms. Tensley Williams.
Present.
Mr. Izaza. Mr. Mike.
Here.
Ms. Bo.
Flag of United States of America, republic for which is there, one nation, under God.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being recorded, and because of the emergency order S-2506 signed into law, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, and this act extends through June 2027. The authority for meetings of multiple member bodies can be held in an entirely remote or hybrid format. All public bodies may hold fully remote or hybrid meetings without the physical presence of a quorum of the public body, as long as adequate alternative means of public access is provided. Moving on to student showcase. Mr. Stoto.
Yeah, I have a team from Sullivan here. I think there's a video they wanted to share and talk about the a new program that they launched this year. Yes.
You gotta turn it on.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Sure. So my name's Crystal Torres. I'm an adjustment counselor at Sullivan Middle School. Today we're going to talk about this attendance intervention we started. It's really unique. It's called the Attendance Alliance. So what that is we took a group of our students who historically had very poor attendance and currently had very poor attendance and matched them up with a group of counselors. So this all started in a room with our attendance group, but majority of that group is counselors. So the counselors took on the Attendance Alliance and started to mentor these children and have meetings during school. So they have like these 10-minute meetings, and we set them very randomly so that the kids look forward to coming. We usually do something fun, and we've had really great outcomes, just a relationship building and attendance improvements, and Rue's really good at data. So he's collected some good data to just like tell you a little bit more with like numbers about how that's going.
So, and I want to say for our students, our approach with them has tried to be that to get them to help each other, and because they bring so many assets to the school. And I think when we just look at attendance or chronic attendance, we just sort of look at like kids who are not coming to school, but getting them to build a sense of belonging with one another and say, let's help each other get to school. Our counseling team at school, they're amazing. Crystal is part of our counseling team, and you'll see in the video that they put together, like the students were not able to attend, so they said, we'll make a movie. We'll make it. So you'll see in a second, it's not just, it's like somebody made a movie. But you can see in the graph here, right around week 17 is when the intervention started. And week by week, the gap between these students and all students is closing. And you'll see when we watch the video sort of how they feel about themselves in the program and how they feel about the work. So we wanted them to be able to be here to speak to it, but they weren't able to make it. So in lieu of that, we've got a video which I believe should work.
Thank you for coming today. Nerlise, what grade are you in?
I'm in 8th grade.
Awesome.
Gracias por venir hoy. Jexander, ¿en qué grado tú estás?
Estoy en el grado 8.
And do you enjoy being part of the Alliance?
Yeah, a lot.
¿Te gusta ser parte de la Alliance, Jexander?
Un montón.
So has this group made it any easier for you to come to school, Nerlise?
Yeah, it made it like a lot easier for me.
That's awesome. I feel like I see you more too.
¿La danza te ha ayudado a querer ir más a la escuela, Alexander?
Sí, mucho, actually.
Sí. Me da mucha alegría verte aquí, ¿verdad? En los pasillos, en la clase. Te veo que estás haciendo unos gran pasos este año.
Gracias.
So, what do you like about the group? You seem very excited about it.
They have a lot of different activities that makes me like it a lot.
Nice. What's one of the activities that you've tried there before that you liked? Or what's one of the things you guys do? Ooh, bingo. That must have been fun. That sounds fun.
¿Cuál es lo que más te gusta de este grupo?
Lo más que me gusta de este grupo es que malos maestros, pero no te esfuerzan a hacer nada, sino que te dirigen a la dirección correcta y lo hacen que haga tu opción o tu decisión, hacer lo correcto o no lo correcto.
¿Y tú te sientes que los adultos entonces te están apoyando?
Sí, por lo menos lo de la danza, sí.
And now, how does it feel knowing that you're making a difference in attendance at your school? Because you guys have made some big improvements as a group and individually.
It feels good. They motivate me a lot, so I really feel good about it.
Thank you.
¿Cómo te sientes al saber que estás ayudando a mejorar la asistencia en nuestra escuela?
Me siento muy alegre porque pienso y siento que como que estoy haciendo algo correcto y mejorando en las cosas que en mi vida no estaba haciendo bien antes.
Sí, y te quería dejar saber que el grupo completo están haciendo mucho progreso en la escuela. So, muchas gracias a usted por venir a la escuela todos los días. Gracias.
Is there anything else you guys want to add? 'Cause maybe.
Me encanta que traen la comida.
I love it. Yeah. No, it's helpful, right? Like, what about the adults? Do you know more adults in the building since you started?
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like when you need somebody, or like
It
when?
feels good because if one of the adults are not here, I can go to the other adult.
And do you feel comfortable with all the adults? Nice. How about you, Jet? Did you meet any new adults, or did you pretty much know everyone? Oh, nice. That's awesome.
Sí, es verdad, tú conoces a muchos de los adultos aquí en el building, pero también ahorita te expresaste que te sientes apoyado por ellos y específicamente en el grupo de la danza, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Sí. Okay.
Yeah. Any kids? Did you guys meet new kids that you didn't know before the alliance? Okay. How about you, Jet?
¿Ha conocido otros estudiantes que a lo mejor no ha conocido antes de la danza?
Que los conocí, sí, pero que son amigos, ¿no?
All right. Awesome.
Pero siente que puedes compartir con ellos en el grupo.
Sí.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Two things that I want to point out. So Jet, who's the young man in the video, last week in the district attendance awards, he got an attendance award. So he started in this group. He's engaged every week, and is really, you can see the belonging that he's built, and like helped others too. And that's the best part when you go to see them, because they meet each week, and it's just they're helping each other. So it's saying, you know, I'm gonna be a leader for my peers, and I'm gonna help you out. And then Nerlis, one of the answers that she gives, Crystal asks about sort of what's your experience like with adults in the building, and she talks about how now I feel like there's a bunch of other adults in the building who I know, so when I need things and when they're around, I feel like I'm seen in the school. So we're really excited about the work that kids have done, because we set it up, but kids have done all the work to help each other and to really improve their attendance. We're excited for a lot of our 8th graders to go off to high school feeling like their attendance is in a much better place than it was. And we're excited for our 6th and 7th graders to be able to continue this work next year. So
I just want to say this to Crystal Torres and the people that's working with her. It's an awesome thing that what you're doing with the Alliance class, and I'm happy that the attendance is picking up, and I'm glad that the students are having fun. And the encouragement from me to you is keep up the good work, and if you need me to help out anything as a volunteer, just give me a call. Thank you, sweetheart.
So much. May take you up on that offer.
Please do.
Yeah, I love meeting new adults in the building. Thank you so much.
Okay,
I
hon.
appreciate that.
Ms. LaFave.
As with anything, there's always a root cause. So prior to anything, have you determined what the root cause was of your chronically absent students? And then addressing that as a whole.
If you can use the microphone.
I think it varies student to student. I don't know that there is one root cause for this group. I think they all come with all different reasons why they are not coming to school, and they vary from different. Transportation is some of the reasons. Some things might just be anxiety. There's some mental health stuff. There's some family things going on. So it really does vary. I'm not exactly, but we did try to attack it by creating more of a sense of belonging and some sense of joy in school. And so even if there is things going on outside at home and they're all different things, at least like this could be a place that was had positive influence so I don't know that there's one root cause. I don't know if you have a better
So, and I fully understand, but when you're treating a whole child, it's basically also addressing what is causing those barriers so that this way, it's going to help them succeed moving on because 10 minutes, because if you're telling me it's a meeting of 10 minutes, what exactly can you do in 10 minutes?
They meet individually, their mentors,
Uh-huh.
they meet with the group 10 minutes, like 10, 15 minutes once or twice. But so we can't get all of the kids together as often, but the ones they're all assigned mentors. But we all have small caseloads that consist of different kids on the list, and they all have different goals and different attendance plans. And I think they're all different. I should have brought an example of one of those plans, or maybe.
Yeah, and if I could say, there's a whole layer of case management that happens in individual attendance plans that happens with kids, which we've always had before for Tier 3 students. This piece about sort of the collective working together, we haven't had, and we've found much more success this year by pairing the two together. So to have this collective experience once a week and then pairing that with the individual supports for students, because we are talking about Tier 3 students who need individual supports and individual plans. Our attendance team meets once a week for an hour, and those are the students that we go through to tailor the supports. So this isn't meant to be in lieu of that individual support. It's meant to be partnered with it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to really see like the whole picture and see like the progress unless, I mean, we're having this progress being monitored on a monthly basis, being sent in. Like, yes, we are improving when it comes to the students who are chronically absent. So the gap is closing in, and that's it.
Mrs. Lubold.
Hi, thank you for coming. So I just have a question regarding the transportation, because I know that you have students that come from the Kelly School area, and I know that that is an impediment for them going to after school activities or things of that nature because they can't get there. Are you seeing in your data that there's a large proportion of students who live in the Kelly School area not coming to school?
That's a great question.
Has that been looked at?
I don't know if we've ever sorted the group by address to see that. I mean, definitely when we do the root cause analysis and we talk about individual students, there are students where transportation is an issue. So if they wake up late and they're late for school and they miss the bus, they're not able to get to school the way that some students who are closer to the...
Yeah, I mean, that's a long way to walk,
Yeah.
for sure.
And it doesn't feel like a overall trend with the group that it's like distinctly all students who live who went to Kelly School as their neighborhood. But definitely when we think about root causes, transportation and distance from school is definitely an issue.
Mr. Michelson.
I want to say thanks for coming tonight, and I really think that the approach that you took, it was innovative, and it also showed an awareness to sort of like the goals, right? The goal of the district with a sense of belonging, right? You've addressed that, and it seems to me like it's a positive experience for the kids. My question would be, you talked about the 30 most chronically absent students. My question would be, do you have ideas about when you might adjust that? Have you adjusted it? Have you changed the 30 students?
Do you want to speak to this part, Crystal? Yeah, the answer is yes. And Crystal can talk about the process.
So we have cycled some people in and cycled some people out based on their individual data. So what's happening is when we cycle them out, they're moving more out of the mentor phase of it, but they still want to come to the 10-minute meetings. So we have acquired a lot more than 30 for the meetings at some points, and a lot more than 30 that want to be a part of it. But that gets cycled through weekly and monthly. We meet weekly and kind of talk about individual data, and then monthly we'll kind of reassess like who's not graduating, but like we call it graduating from the group, and then who we need to bring in.
Have you seen an increase in attendance in like after school activities and things of that nature with some of those same students that were like cycled out?
No, I don't know that I have looked into that, but that is a really great idea. And yeah, because I guess that would really prove they feel they belong a little more if they're like applying to that.
So I am just going to limit discussion on the showcase, which was the video we couldn't see. I mean, if we're going to have in-depth discussions about data, that's not really the intent of the students showcase. This was supposed to be students engaging with us.
It's one small
So
one.
as long as it's not dealing
It's
with
a
the
small
data,
one.
as long as it's
No,
about
it's
something
not
about
data.
the program, the
Yes.
actual mentoring program, you can ask the question.
Thank you.
There you go.
So I just was curious because you had mentioned the 10-minute meetings and the kids really being excited about going, and the others who cycle that one and come back. Can you share maybe a snippet about like what happens in those meetings? Like what is it just they're talking? Like what is making them want to come back?
The last one we played bingo and there was prizes. The one before that we played volleyball and there was also prizes. So we've done so many different things. Like we really have. It's usually something exciting that they choose. We'll give them kind of options, or we'll say, "What would you guys like to do?" So that's how we come up with it. And we try to keep it something that's like free but fun, and something we can do like on school grounds. Recently, we got the community involved. So our next meeting is going to be a lot longer. It'll be a 2-hour meeting, and it's going to be at Altitude in Holyoke, and they really hooked us up, and they also gave the student with like most improved a free birthday party. So the kids were really excited to like come to school, and they were also excited that like people in the community were like buying into it and knew about them, and they were going to go, and they're going to get to go meet them tomorrow. So they're very excited. And there was like specific criteria, so they were all like trying to meet their criteria, and it was really cute.
Mrs. LeBron Martinez.
Thank you for thinking outside the box. I always believe in that model for youth in particular, and I say youth because they're young adults. Who's the mentors? You talk about mentors. Who are the mentors?
They're all counselors and adjustment counselors from the school. Yep. So we all work at Sullivan. This is just kind of like an extra kind of thing we took on.
To do that.
Yeah. So they're all mentored by a counselor in the building.
Let me just say thank you for what you're doing. And again, I think you just shared you play activities that are attracting them. Sometimes part of not fitting in other groups doesn't help you come into the school systems for whatever reason. This is not only Holyoke, I think happens in many other places. When you don't feel like you belong, you kind of feel out. And then if they're giving you the ideas about the volleyball sports and all these type of ideas, is because they're trying to find their own niche of what makes them possible, valuable, or way of integrating to the systems that they're looking for the support. And I'm a believer that when you find the sort of the root causes that I think our colleague Mildred was mentioning, is that they then feel part of something. It's what I'm trying to say. So thank you again for your work.
Other
Devin.
questions? Yes.
May I ask, excuse me, the meeting she said is tomorrow at Sullivan?
At Holyoke Mall.
Eh.
Tomorrow's at the Holyoke Mall. They're going to go. They're going away for the first time.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Because if it was tomorrow in town at the school, I would ask if I could come. But that's okay. I'll get in touch with you.
We'll
Yeah.
tell you the
In the
dates are top
future.
secret. We don't tell them, and that's how we get them to come to school. We don't tell them the time or day, but we'll tell you.
Oh, great.
We'll be in
That's
touch, Rosalie, so
okay,
you can
that
come by and
works.
see.
That works. I'm going to check you guys out very soon, okay? So I'm happy, like Ms. Martinez said. I'm very excited about this, and my encouragement to you, I'm happy that the students are having fun. We need to have fun with whatever we're doing. We don't want it to be grueling and drills and all that, even though I travel in the Air Force on the volleyball team. So I'd love to show up one time, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to the agenda, are there any students online, Irene? No. Okay. Anyone send it for public comment? Moving on to superintendent's report. Mr. Soto.
Yeah, thank you. In your packet, I included a memo that I had sent the school committee last week. And, you know, we're kicking off our annual planning for next year and preparing for our leader retreat, which is going to be at the end of this month. I think that the important thing that I wanted to lift in this meeting is that we're not really creating a new plan for next year. We all know that Jackie Gasheen is going to be the superintendent, and any superintendent in their first year always goes through an entry plan and a more, you know, a larger strategic planning process. So we talked as a team and decided that we wanted to make sure we build off of the current strategic plan for this upcoming school year. Jackie's been heavily involved with the planning of that retreat, and she'll be heavily involved in helping create what the focus areas are going to be for next year. And we use this process to work with our school principals, let them know based on all of the information that we're looking at and based on the feedback that we get and the retreat that we have. We let our principals know what the focus areas are for the upcoming year so that they can start working on their school improvement plans, which we want to make sure we have, you know, back to the school committee prior to July 1. So in there you'll see that we're hopeful that the school committee can, you know, dedicate some time, each individual member, to fill out the survey that we included in the attached memo, so that when we sit down and we have the retreat at the end of April, we have some feedback from each of you. And if there's, you know, any one of you that, you know, prefers to send an email on feedback or anything like that, you could also, you know, include that feedback to myself, Jackie, and Aaron Linville, so that as we prep for the retreat, we have that information.
Okay. Any questions for the superintendent? Moving on to the vote of the school committee vote to allow the superintendent to seek city council approval for a 4-year contract with the Mosel software to support all mobile Apple devices in the district.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion? Mrs. Lubold?
So I have some questions, a couple, just two, but really, and it's really because something this kind of struck a nerve with me because it was coming up in a different conversation in a different setting about devices and the protection that this particular contract talks about. And so I'm wondering, you know, can you confirm that in addition to Apple products, that there is people have to sign compliant data processing agreements with their devices in the school? So not just the Apple products, but devices in general.
I'm not understanding the question. I'm sorry.
So when you're handling, when an employee is handling student data, if they're entering it, if they are, everything that's in this, is it Mosel? Is that how you say it? Or the contract of the vendor?
Yeah.
What I'm asking is there a particular policy or a document that an employee needs to sign that validates the protection of that information, regardless of the device, agnostic of the device?
We do have an acceptable use policy in our handbook, and we do have securely a separate for the student Chromebook devices. We have a separate system that helps staff like know what students are using on their devices. This particular Mosel software is for all of our Apple products, and what it allows us to do is less about like controlling student information or minimizing student information going out, but more about being able to push out specific applications to all of the devices all at once and manage, what students are able to access on those Apple devices. We have something similar for our Chromebooks as well.
Yeah, but I guess I'm just asking in terms of ultimate data protection devices. So them pushing a software out that protects, but also, when someone might be entering onto their personal device, like for example, when I'm at work, I have to use two phones, right? I have my work phone and then I have my personal phone. I don't do business on my personal phone. And if I kept one device, then I would have certain criteria on that phone that would be locked in. And the reason I'm asking this day and age is that we have to protect that private information, and I think there's some ongoing discussion that can be at a later date, but I wanted to know if there was a specific language or specific document or something that we could point to in terms of the acceptable use or how broad it is, and if it aligns with the Data Protection Act that is cited in the Apple, because I think if we're doing it for Apple, we should be doing it for all of it, just from a governance lens.
So I'm just going to step you there. We need to keep the discussion to asking the city council to enter into a 4-year contract. That is the motion. If we can go and request a 4-year contract. So that's, if there's questions around why we're asking for a 4-year contract or things like that, but that is the discussion on the motion tonight.
So to what extent then do we talk about, we're going to the city council to ask them to approve a contract, right? And we don't have a specific answer about the data protection that I'm talking about. So it's great that we're covering Apple devices, but I mean, that is part of our due diligence. So if we're going to the city council to ask them to approve something, shouldn't we have an understanding about beyond this contract about whether this is
the contract
appropriate?
Scope that we're being asked to do is only for a year. We don't have the authority to say whether or not we should approve a contract. We only have the authority, since contracts can't be greater than 3 years, to say we'd like an extra year. The authority of actually accepting the contract is held within the chief procurement officer, the superintendent, and the mayor's authority to sign and execute contracts. So we can only say they're giving us, as in these terms, basically a free year if we sign on for 4 years. So all we can do is authorize the superintendent to go ask the city council to allow us to enter a 4-year contract. The content of the contract is not under our purview, under Chapter 30B. Mrs. Lubold.
And what is the benefit for signing a 4-year contract?
That's a question that.
Yeah, so the benefit is that, it's a system that we currently use, and they changed their pricing model to where they are no longer offering 3-year contracts. They're offering either 1-year contracts or 4-year contracts. And in our discussion with them during our budget development process, they essentially, we would be paying an extra $4,000 than the current rate right now. And instead of getting it for 3 years, we would get it for 4 years. And by statute, any contracts greater than 3 years, we got to get approval from the city council to allow us to enter into a contract. So it's a product we already use. We have no intentions right now of switching vendors because we already know how to use that. And it's been great for managing our iPad devices and getting content out and getting the right applications out and making sure the students are that when a student is rostered in a particular academic program that we use, that it functions properly on their devices. So it really is about, this is something we're using. They changed their model. It would probably cost us twice as much if we just went with an annual contract and went with a 1-year term and renewed that term every year. So I thought it was, typically we only do 1 to 3 year contracts unless there's a benefit. And in this case, there's a huge cost benefit. We're essentially getting a whole year for free.
Mrs. Lubold.
So I totally hear what you're saying. Without being able to see the contract, is there an opportunity within that contract if the tech landscape changes, as we know it's rapidly evolving with AI every other second, so that you're updating your technology and your security and all those things, that they will do that, or are they holding you to the existing thing that you signed today?
We would actually pay for this and we'd be good for another 4 years.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is the way that technology evolves. So I was working on something today where something was being pushed by some of our from Apple or someone else, right? If you have an existing contract that says you have X cookie cutter, this is what we offer you, and this new thing comes along, are you going to be able to adapt to that from an information security perspective? So again,
Yes, we would.
you would.
Yeah.
That's a clause in the contract?
We have termination clauses in all of our contracts with this, with all of our vendors. So if we're not happy with a product, we could walk away from it. We always have that protection in our contracts. And I haven't run into any scenarios yet where we have partners, particularly software partners or IT partners that, aren't keeping up to date. They, that's how they ultimately get business and make sure they're staying up to date. So like if we ever encounter a problem, my experience with this particular vendor is that we would problem solve that together and come to a solution that we both agree to. And if there was ever a point where I felt like we couldn't come to terms for whatever reason, then we would part ways.
Thank you.
Ms. LaFave.
So 2 questions. The first one, is there a time constraint on this approval by City Council?
So like this would be for next year. So
By when?
this isn't super urgent.
Okay, so being that there's so much questions in regards to the contract, the service, and everything, should we then refer to the joint City Council School Committee and let them see the whole presentation on the contract, or what the
We
service?
can, but obviously that they don't get to debate the contract. They debate whether it's 1 year or 4 years. Like the motion request is 4 years. So the only discussion is centered around, should we enter into a 4-year agreement?
So not
It
even the
can.
content
It can.
of what the service is being provided, or?
The chief procurement officer, the mayor, superintendent, and I assume the city solicitor are the ones that deal with the contract on that and have the approval on that.
Okay.
They approve going into an extra term, whether it's anything over 3 years. We can only contract it, like they can only contract it 3 years unless there's approval
No,
from the governing body.
that's fine. I'm just talking about, if I'm not mistaken, Ms. Lubold, what you're asking is what are the services that they're providing? Like more in depth about who they are and what they provide and whether it's beneficial for our district.
Mrs. Lubold.
Yes, that's accurate, Mildred. But I also just want a point of understanding, and perhaps either the mayors or the superintendent can share. If we're passing this on, right, for the city council to vote, and I understand what you're saying. You say we do not own the contract, but from my reading, we are liable for student outcomes, and we are presenting something to the city council by our approval that says that this is a contract that protects student data. And so if I am presenting something that's protecting student data, I want to know that it's protecting student data, because that comes back or could come back to our governance board, is my understanding.
I mean, that language is in there so that a vendor can't, I think every single one of our IT vendors that we use their platform, we make sure in every single one of our IT contracts that just because it's their platform, it's our student data, we make sure there's language in there that says they can't take our student data and, and do what they want with it and sell it or whatever. But as it really is just using their software to help manage our iPad devices. And because they're a company and they're allowing us to use their program, we need to have certain protections in place to make sure that the vendor themselves can't take our information. So we have an accounting software, Munis, that does the same thing. It has all of our employee information. When we enter, we engage in a contract with them, like it's an understanding that they can't take our, staff social security numbers and staff data. So that's just typical language that you see in software products that, work with every district.
Mayor? Was your hand up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just wanted to make a comment just as far as when things like this come up in a matter of procedure, each of us have a vote, and every one of us we have questions. And if we're going to get someone's vote, it's going to be contingent upon of whether or not those questions are being answered and adequately to earn that person's vote. And so this is the first time I think this hasn't gone to committee or anything. So I just worry, this is just kind of an example as things come up for approval from this body, how we're filtering that information so that we can make sure that every member's been an opportunity to get their questions answered, whatever, so that they can earn that yes vote or no vote, however they decide to vote. And so I don't know what the timing is. How quickly do we need to get this in front of the council? And Devin is absolutely right. Like, the matter before us is as to we're voting on whether or not we want to send this to the council so we can get their 4 year. So it sounds like a lot of the work has been done that got us here to begin with. But also, in a matter of procedure, how we should think about how things should get presented before looking for that whole body vote to approve something. How we do it, I know sometimes timing can be an issue. Normally we'd send it to committee, further discussion, committee members can ask more questions. I know in the past we've talked about no one going to committee member meetings. Well, maybe we do it at full body meetings. But either way, we need to kind of figure out, how do we filter information up to get members ready to make their votes, so it just doesn't feel like rubber stamping. That's just wanted to add that out there. We don't have to answer that or talk about that now, but I'm just observing that right now, and I worry that as other things come up, we're going to always have this problem.
Ms. LaFave.
So I'm going to ask one question, then I'm going to piggyback off of what you just mentioned, Mayor Garcia. The first question is, how long have we been with this company? Mr. Soto.
We've been with this company for 3 years.
Okay, with that being said, we were in receivership. So are we saying that we're going to pull every contract now that we're out of receivership and then start sending them to committee before we even start making approvals? Because if that's what the plan is, then I suggest we start getting a move on.
No,
I'm not. Can I address that?
No, we're not
second?
doing that.
We did that just so, the finance subcommittee took every contract that was greater than 3 years, which would be in the extension, and we just did that.
Okay.
So that's been done.
So, okay, but
I mean, that
I
part
get
was
it.
accomplished.
I
That
get
was
it.
done.
But I think we all need to then really understand what our roles are then as school committee members. And to no offense, Miss Lubold, but we're really at this point we're nitpicking a lot of things, and we have some major things that we really need to be addressing versus a contract such as this. Just like with anything, if we've had this contract already for that long, have we had any data breach, any student breach, anything?
We
No.
have not.
We haven't. And however you look at it, it can happen at any given time with anything as people are getting smarter with you know, hacking into systems and whatever. It's not something that we can guarantee with 100% that it's never going to happen. But this is a company that we've continued to use. Well, we've used for 3 years. We haven't had an issue yet. So I'm just not sure where we're going to end up going, but I'm starting to feel just I don't even know how to even start with how I'm starting to feel. I'm looking at my role as a member to ensure that our students' success, right? Our students' success, making sure that we're meeting the needs of our students, the district, our staff, everything combined.
Amen.
But to sit here for the past maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes on this contract, either we're going to send it to committee and we're going to start doing that so that people can see it from the very, like, this is all the services they provide, and whether or not you like it or not, whatever, then let's get that done and over with. I understand that it's already been heard in finance and operations.
Not this.
Oh, no, but I'm just saying other contracts that are expiring. When they come up again, if they come up here, the questions are going to be, so prepare yourselves. So either we do this already now and start sending everything over to the Joint City Council School Committee for them to review and go through the whole thing. But for us to sit here and to over this one specific contract 25 minutes. And the other thing is, when I mentioned at our last meeting, there are certain things that should come to the full committee and other things that go to another one, was like the superintendent, whatever it was, the superintendent evaluation, however, that gets done here. When it came to the panorama survey, what do you, sending it to committee for what? To then for me to say, oh, it was complied with, when that should have been everybody to have an ability to speak upon the survey results. It shouldn't be just the committee.
Focus on the motion.
I am
Lubold.
focusing on the motion.
First of all, respectfully, I do appreciate, Mildred, where you're coming from, and I do and recognize that my questions about data protection may feel intrusive or over the line, but I want for us to maybe consider my point of view about why I'm asking that. And that is for student outcomes. It is for student protection. It is for the protection of our families, and it is the protection for our community when we look at contracts like this and what exposure there could or may not be, potentially. I can't tell that in a good faith effort from a memo from our IT department. How I can look at that intelligently and feel confident, to the mayor's point, is by having a link to the contract to review it. I recognize that what is before us is something to send to the city council, but I in no way, shape, or form feel confident in passing that on to the city council without doing my due diligence as an elected official. That is my job. That is why we're here. So that is why I'm asking these questions. And I realize that it takes an amount of time. But this is serious business, and the care and protection of our community, the care and protection of our schools, our children, their families, and their data, particularly sensitive data, in which, I was at a meeting just the other week talking about some policies entering student data that were not being applied to. So, this is a real issue, and it's going to get increasingly worse as the technology landscape evolves, and we need to have our eye on this, and that is my point.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please, Ms. Feliciano. Yep. You won.
Yes.
Ms. LeBron Martinez.
Yes.
Ms. Tensi Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Izaza.
Yes.
Michelson.
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau.
No.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes.
Dr. Rare Cologne.
Yes.
And Mr. Sheehan.
Yes. Anything else for your report, Mr. Soto?
No, thank you.
Moving on to out-of-state field trips, Morgan Elementary School, High Meadows. The school committee vote to accept the out-of-state field trip to High Meadows, North Granby, Connecticut on May 28th, 2026. Is
So moved.
there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded.
Second it.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave.
Yes.
LeBron Martinez.
Yes.
Ms. Tensi Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Izaza.
Yes.
Mr. Michelson.
Yes.
LeBeau.
Yes.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes.
Dr. Rare Cologne.
Yes.
Yes. Budget transfers and reports. The school committee approved the budget transfer. It shouldn't be approved. That the school committee vote to refer to Finance and Operations Subcommittee the budget transfer for language access services and the purchase of a wheelchair van using
So moved.
carryover. Been moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave.
Yes.
LeBron Martinez.
Yes.
Ms. Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Izaza.
Yes.
Mr. Michael.
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes.
Dr. Rare Cologne.
Yes.
Sheehan.
Yes. Warrant approval report. The school committee vote to accept the report of warrants REG 0226F-6 and REG 0326A-J. Approve as listed above.
So moved.
Moved. Is there a second? Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Second it.
Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave.
Yes.
Ms. LeBron Martinez.
Yes.
Ms. Tensi Williams.
Yes.
Mr. Izaza. Mr. Michelson.
Yes.
Ms. LeBeau.
Yes.
Mayor Garcia.
Yes.
Dr. Rare Cologne.
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan.
Yes. Appointment to the Parent and Community Engagement Committee. That the school committee vote to approve the appointment of Mrs. Lubold Chair, Mrs. LaBeau Martinez, and Ms. Tensley Williams to the Parent and Community Engagement Committee to support the parent groups. Moved. Is there a
So
second?
moved.
Any discussion? Mrs. LaFave.
I just want a clear understanding of what will be the role of these three school committee members on this
Okay.
ad hoc. What is it, an ad hoc committee or creating this committee?
Ad hoc.
Or was this committee already established by parents and community members, and now you're appointing three school committee members? So I just need to know what the role and extent of their work will be. I want to make sure that we're not crossing boundaries and now kind of telling our directors how to do things versus working in collaboration and providing assistance and support as needed.
Dr. Rivera-Colon, are you able to?
Yes. This was in response of getting reports about recruitment and support for the different parent groups. And in order to be able to get those reports and be able to have the right questions from the district, that's the purpose of this particular ad hoc committee.
Okay, so then what will be then? So they get this report, then what? Is it only for the three school committee members to have that information versus just doing an FYI update, maybe, monthly or quarterly on the school committee agenda where it's just an FYI that it's just added in there for our knowledge? So, like, how long is this ad hoc committee? Is this something that's just going to be forever?
Dr. Rivera-Colon?
Well, that would be the decision of the full committee as we move forward. But this is an attempt to be able to have regular reports to the full school committee as a response for more communication with the parent groups in the district.
Good.
Any other discussion? Ms. LaFave?
Oh, you heard me breathe?
I thought you raised your hand.
Okay. So I know where this is coming from. It's from the discussion as to through the Leadership and Accountability Measurement Subcommittee, where we did meet with the special education director as well as the multi-language learners director, and they did discuss the concerns about parent engagement and how we don't have, parents haven't signed up to be like the president, vice president, secretary, and it's not really driven by the parents themselves. But what I am going to acknowledge is that they're doing everything that they can, right? These directors are doing all that they can to get people engaged. And it's not, I don't want to use it like saying that the families don't want to get engaged, is that they also have priorities, right?
Focus your comments on the motion,
Right.
too.
Well, this has to do with the voting to approve appointments to this. I want to make sure that this committee is not going to be like on top of the special education director or the multi-language learner director or whatever, like saying, but you haven't done enough, because we have to acknowledge that they are doing enough. We can't force people to take on roles of what should be led by the parents. I know we did, when Dr. Zreich was here, he had appointed myself and Ms. Burks to serve, no, myself at that point, because Ms. Burks wasn't here, to serve as a special education co-chair. And my role was not to direct them on how to do the work. It was to be there and to support and assist. I want to make sure that that's how we're going, and we're not going as the ones that are driving these meetings, and like, that's kind of where.
The intent for this is for information gathering, identifying any barriers that we might be able to help eliminate or things like this. It's not in any way to be, there's boundaries, right? We're not going to be there telling them what to do or how to do it. We do not oversee or manage any of the parent subgroups or anything like that. We're not replacing existing communication channels either. This is more a focus on district-wide engagement in general, to be able to have a place where we can gather information, serve as the liaison between the school committee and the parent group, so that way we can gather and hear the feedback from these groups to the full committee. It's all support alignment, but there's no overseeing or coordination or anything like that.
Thank you.
May I
Lubold?
say something?
Not yet. You can soon.
Kevin?
Not soon. Not
Yeah.
yet. Mrs. Lubold?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I didn't get the sense of a negative intent of policing what they're doing. It was more of a supportive role to Dr. Rivera Colon's point, gathering information, and to Ms. LeBar Martinez's earlier point with our student guests, thinking outside of the box and being partners in that ideation, so that we can help from an engagement perspective as we live in this community as well. And so to me, it was a partnership opportunity, an information gathering opportunity, and then something that we actually have line of sight into when we get reports like the Panorama Survey, for example, to be able to have real world knowledge of what type of engagement barriers there are and what kind of things might work, in the same way that our guests were here today. That was how I was viewing it.
Mrs. LeBron Martinez?
If I'm not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. LeBeau, but I think you came back from from the conference, right? That you got certified, and you learned about the fact that this is required. It's not a
Yes.
and that is why also it was put in front of us to kind of think about it and see how we could be of any support to what it isn't happening, and not to point fingers or not to I have enough in my plate to go and follow people around and figure out what they're not doing. But my thing is that I think we can hopefully help identifying individuals who can get involved if they're not, and definitely we gotta go and meet with those who are running these meetings already and see what they may having barriers or what are they lacking to see how we could be of any support. So that's why I got involved. Thank you.
Mrs. Tensley Williams?
First of all, who do we think we are? I don't believe in being bullies. First of all, we need to work with the parents. I don't argue with people because I don't get into that kind of stuff. I was a parent. I raised 2 sons single-handedly, but I know it was with God's help. But the point is, we can't take over. Oh, I'm the boss. Nobody's the boss. We need to get in the group, help the people, be there for the parents, so that whatever comes out of the meeting, it will be correct, and everyone will be happy. That's all I'm saying. I'm not joining anything to tell parents what to do because I was a parent. But we need to work with the parents. That's why I'm on the school board. Okay, so thank you guys.
Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Faith?
Enough is enough.
It's a hard one. I'm sorry. I know I will be asked, but my answer is going to be no.
Mr. Brown Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Tensley Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Izaza?
Yes.
Mr. Michelson?
Yes.
Ms. Bo?
Yes.
Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Dr. Rhea Colon?
Yes.
And Mr. Sheehan?
Yes. Moving on to approval of minutes. Does anyone have any amendments to any of the listed minutes? I will entertain a motion to accept and approve the February 9th, 2026 school committee meeting minutes, the March 9th, 2026 school committee meeting minutes, the September 10th, 2025 policy and governance subcommittee minutes, the October 8th, 2025 policy and governance subcommittee minutes, and the March 2nd, 2026 finance and operations meeting minutes. Is there a second?
I second that motion.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Faith?
Yes.
Mr. Brown Martinez?
Yes.
Ms. Tensley Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Izaza?
Yes.
Mr. Michelson?
Yes.
Ms. Bo?
Yes.
Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Dr. Rhea Colon?
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes. Item F is just an FYI of the new appointment of the Morgan School principal. No actions needed, but you all have that. Updates of committees, finance and operation or policy and governance subcommittee. I know Ms. Wilson is not here. Is there any update from any members of the committee? There doesn't have to be. I know we have action later on, but Mr. Michelson.
So we definitely approved at least a couple policies that are come to the full committee. We looked at one was about advertising and revenue for clubs. So that'll be coming, and it was cooperation with other districts. And one other thing was we looked at the enrollment process for Dean, which changed to a full lottery system instead of a more of a subjective system where you could insert different. It's completely a lottery system, and that was based on a change to state law in 2025 November. So those 3 things should be coming to us at a full committee probably in 2 weeks.
Okay, moving on to finance and operations, and there's some action items that the school committee vote to accept and approve the 25-26 mid-year project list as attached.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Faith?
Yes.
Mr. Brown Martinez?
Yes.
Mr. Izaza?
Yes.
Ms. Tensley Williams, excuse me.
That's okay. Yes.
Mr. Michelson?
Yes.
Ms. Bo?
Yes.
Mayor Garcia?
Yes.
Dr. Rhea Colon?
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan?
Yes. Moving on to budget transfer request. The school committee vote to approve the budget transfer report of March 23rd, 2026. Or motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Seconded.
Roll call, please.
LaFave,
Yes.
LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Kenzie Williams,
Yes.
Terry Zaza,
Yes.
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Yes.
Yes. As you can see, the committee also complied with 2 orders that are listed within the agenda. The next meeting of the committee will be May 7th, and that will be to review the FY27 budget and make recommendations to this committee. And it's at 6 o'clock at the Holyoke School Media Center. Joint City Council School Committee, anything to report? LeBron Martinez?
Yes, I just want to share that I just learned today through Ms. LeBeau that the item of the general law, chapter 40, that that it went in front of us already as a joint committee for the school bus violation detection. It's gonna be taken up by the governance committee of the city council on the 28th of this month. I looked up on the page, but it's not up yet on the site. I'm sorry, but I learned that it is, so just for us to be aware of that. That's all.
Thank you. Leadership Accountability and Measurement. Ms. LaFave, do you have anything?
We have to reschedule our meeting. It would have been held tonight, but obviously this meeting was moved.
Okay.
I'll be reaching out.
Moving on to ongoing business, the tabled approval of $10,000 grant from Project Lead the Way. The school committee vote to accept the $10,000 grant from Project Lead the Way, and Project Lead the Way is the grantor.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Mrs. LaFave?
Could you just help me to remember why it was tabled?
Because the grantor wasn't listed there.
Oh, okay.
Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave.
Yes.
Ms. LeBron Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Kenzie Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Terry Zaza,
Yes.
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Rivera Colon.
Yes.
Yes. Moving on to policy updates, removals, additions. That the school committee vote to receive recommended changes to policy BDEB and recommend that the interim superintendent review recommended changes and post the policy for feedback comments for 2 weeks.
So moved.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Ms. LaFave. Mrs.
That'll be
Rodriguez.
changing. Mrs. Rodriguez, that's right. It'll be changing soon. Got to update everything.
It changed a long time
It's been
ago.
2 years almost.
That's right.
It's just, there's a process for that.
Yeah.
I can only do one thing a year. Okay. All right. So I've been sitting, because I was part of the policy subcommittee meeting that discussed this, and I just sat back and really thinking about. And it's, like I said earlier, I think we're taking this to another level of really micromanaging how things are being done. And so my concern is, if something's not done, clearly the red items that are here, what is going to be the full extent of this? Are we not going to accept? And then we're going to have to cancel meetings because we're not getting the things appropriately, such as getting a brief summary, plain language. I'm just really concerned as to how in depth we're getting here versus, we have more important things. And I'm not saying that individuals with disability, that I'm not meeting their needs, because overall I am the first one trying to meet their needs. But now we're taking this to another extent, and if it's not met, then what? Is this where we're going to start saying we're not going according to our policy, so we can't submit this agenda, we can't do this? I mean, I think we're just going a bit too far on how the agenda is going to be written and every presentation that's done.
Mrs. Lubold?
So I appreciate where you're coming from because standards can feel coming over the top, but basic communication standards are critical. We are overseeing a $1.25 million organization, and we need to show up at the table and act like it. So when we get reports in that do not have basic executive summaries, so that not just that we access, but that the public accesses. We have engagement issues that we talk about around this table all the time. People cannot engage with something that they don't understand. So it is critical to adhere to some basic standards in communication so that people can access the information that we are talking about. If we want community interaction, we need to give people something that they can understand. And there have been multiple reports that have come to this body, and I have heard many of us across this table say, I don't understand this. I don't know what this means, multiple times. And that doesn't have to be that way. So are we going to send people back to the principal's office because they didn't come with the perfect executive summary? No, I'm just talking about uniform standards, and it needs to be codified because everyone shows up with a different standard. Uniform standards can help alleviate that problem.
Mr. Michelson, was your hand up?
So I definitely appreciate where both of you are coming from, and I understand the feeling that it comes off as critical, like critical, like do it this way. I think we had an example of this not that long ago, right, where we had some panorama information, and we were trying to talk about it and trying to figure out what we were going to do about it, and we tabled it, and Mr. Soto came back the next meeting, and he presented something totally different. And I think that says, right, what happened with that process was how I picture this going forward, right, is, hey, you missed the executive summary. Let's bring that back 2 weeks from now. But now it's in plain English that says, hey, can you give us an executive summary with that so that we can all digest it, the public can understand it, everybody understands it. So I think in crafting this, yeah, I understand that it looks onerous, but I think the intent is not to be onerous. The intent is to make sure everything is understandable before we sit here at our meeting and discuss it.
Ms. Lefebvre.
And so the title of this is the agenda format. Now, this went further in depth, which I did question before when it came to the public discussion meeting, all that, because basically what this is saying is how the agenda is going to be formatted. If we're looking to institute more in-depth processes of how things are going to be submitted to the, for the packages, so you're supporting documents, then to me that's something that would then fall under the superintendent procedures for submitting supporting material for whatever's coming onto an agenda, not so much that this is coming into the agenda format. Because to me, when I'm reading agenda format, the agenda format is that we're going to arrange it in the order on how it's going to be new business, public comment, blah, 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 and keeps going. The part where it says the agenda together with supporting materials will be distributed to school committee members 3 calendar days prior to, which even that right there, I even had mentioned, that should be in the other area that has to do with how the school committee receives it, not how the format of the agenda is. So again, this type of stuff should have then been asked of the interim superintendent. What is your process for submitting the supporting materials? And if they have a process, should be done, whenever the school committee asks for something and the supporting materials, we needed a week before the agenda sent out to the school committee members, then that's where he or she would also put in there, and this is how we would like it presented. It's a process for them of how they would want their staff to do the work, right? Because at the end of the day, who's going to be monitoring this and saying, it's not going to be our assistant to make sure that it's all written in the way that it should be, and to say that, yes, that's the appropriate summary that the school committee is looking to receive. And yes, that is fully in plain language how the school committee wanted to receive it. That would be the job of the interim superintendent to make sure that the staff that he requested that work from and whatever he or she presents to us reflects what's in here. If that's what's written into his procedures at this time.
Mrs. Lubold?
I guess I just think differently about professional standards when we're communicating. And we have, as Mr. Michelson aptly pointed out, there have been things that have been tabled and have come back to us that have been fabulous. There has been, and I've mentioned a couple of points where there's been communication about field trips or extracurricular activities that weren't explained. And then the next meeting, they were explained so that we and the public, and again, this is about also the public who also gets our agendas, who we also are begging to engage with us, right? This is what this is about. So while these are may seem onerous to a layperson looking at this, I assure you that they are basic communication standards that we already know the capability exists within the school department to do, because they do it. I'm just asking for a consistency. That's what, and that's what the public deserves no less, so that they can understand what is being shared in a report. You shouldn't just get numbers on a page and figure it out for yourself. That's just not how this works. We're not synthesizers.
Dr. Vera Cologne?
Thank you. I agree with the spirit of the proposal, but I think that there are some things that we also have to consider. In order for this to come back, I would have certain amendments, recommendations, and so on and so forth. And I'm not gonna say all of them right now because I can send them to the chair so that she can bring them forward. But this would increase staff workload and preparation time. So this could be challenging depending from which department a particular report is coming from, depending on how many people there are available. We also with a what was it called? The executive summary, we have the risk of oversimplifying things that are important just because we want to make it fit one page. It may miss nuanced things or technical details that might lead to misunderstandings, or things might be minimized or unintentionally misleading just because we're trying to make it simpler. Not to mention, of course, that then we would have delays in agenda items, maybe now something that was supposed to come forward sooner because they don't have an executive summary. Now they have to wait until the following meeting, and now we won't be able to see things in the appropriate time. Also, there might be inconsistencies with what we call plain language, because if one department thinks that something is plain language and then another department thinks that something else is plain language, that might make it difficult to then simplify what it is that we're asking for. It will be redundant for the people who actually know what the summaries are. And just like some of my colleagues have mentioned before, so I won't take too long on that, but also the enforcement, right? Like what's going to happen if we do or we don't, right? Like that's going to be also another level of overseeing that we may not have. But not to say that there couldn't be other things that we could do, like spell out acronyms is important. People should know that. But we might need to think about how we do that in a better way. I don't think that policy might be the right place for it. Thank you.
Mrs. Lubold?
So, Madam Chair, and perhaps I can ask this to the more senior levels of on the group. But what? And again, as I mentioned, that we are overseeing over a $1.25 million organization. What are our standards and expectations for people to come before us as a board so that we can consume information and make educated decisions about them? What are our standards? Because I don't see any uniform standards that have come across our desk at all. So what are they? What is the professional standard for this committee?
Ms. LaFave?
And I'm going to go back where then that would be the job of the interim superintendent to create that process for school committee meetings. When his staff is asked for something, or when we technically ask them, the superintendent for something, then delegates it to whomever the director is for that department. He needs, to receive that information. That's for them to tell them how this is going to be the uniform way of doing it to submit to the school committee. The other thing that we could do is if we don't want, or, when it comes to, let's say, using acronyms, then we specifically just ask, hey, I don't understand these acronyms. Can we stop using acronyms? But it may happen that it'll pop up again at some time. But are we going to hold up everything if someone submitted with the acronyms and now, you know what, we're taking that off of the agenda because the agenda has to be posted? And going back to who is going to be responsible to ensure that everything is to the T, even though, like I said before, that section right there has nothing to do with the agenda format. Nothing whatsoever. Because in the agenda itself, when you're looking at what we're going to discuss, the brief summary is not going to show up in there. It's not going to say it right there, under the thing. That's supporting documents. That's something completely different from just the agenda of what we're going to talk about at what specific time. But we do receive the information. Yes. Do we have to do a little bit of extra work that if we want to Google something or find something to really get in-depth knowledge of it? Yeah, we have to do that work. Not everything is given to us. Like, here's all the answers that you're ever, because you know what? There's always going to be that one question that it would have never dawned on me that somebody was going to ask me. And now I'm at fault for not having that darn answer. And yes, I'm going to have to come back the following meeting to provide you that answer. And I'm feeling like that's where we're going. These are becoming, aha, you didn't do it. That we're doing aha moments right now because they didn't come fully prepared, thinking of every single question that any one of us committee members are going to ask. So this is what I'm going to ask each member right now. If you really have in-depth questions about anything, or you feel that you did not receive the adequate information that you need before showing up to this meeting or any meeting, even your subcommittee meetings, make that phone call, send that email and say, I need a one-to-one with you. Here's all this that I received. Explain it right now. So that when we come in here, you have your information. But sometimes we do have to dig. There's things that I have to dig to find, especially when I'm doing the panorama survey. Dig here, dig there, what they're doing. I have to go everywhere. It's not given and handed to me. Like my husband always says, it ain't going to come out and jump at you in your face. You're going to have to look for it. And that's basically where I'm at right now.
Dr. Rivera-Colon.
I just wanted to add that policies should govern high-level rules, not formatting details. And I feel like this, at this point, is more operational than policy level.
Mrs. Lubold.
So the reason that this came to be, just for our background's sake, was because we were talking about this and we were asking about how things come before the committee and to better understand, to do our jobs. And we were told that an order should be filed and it should be submitted to the Policy and Governance Committee for basic principle. You can edit these down, you know, make them what you want. This is not a micromanaging play. It's just an expectation of coming to us with information that we can understand. I have no problem, as you all know, because we've talked about it in certain ways tonight, of doing my homework and digging and understanding things. Clearly, I don't lack that ability. But in a governance role, I don't think that we are synthesizers. I am not a subject matter expert in education. You all are. So if you are speaking, just like you are speaking to students or any other audience, it should be coming to us in things that we can access. We've had multiple meetings or subcommittee meetings, and I know Ms. LeBron Martinez had mentioned we had a wonderful meeting where we had Rebecca Thompson come in and explain things in plain language to us. That was the best meeting that we had ever attended. So these are gold standards. So that's when I ask, Madam Chair, what are our standards? Where do we draw the line to have some uniformity? So not just that we as a board are accessing the information correctly and understanding and coming prepared, to Mildred's point, to be able to ask right questions or not have to ask any questions at all because we get it. You know, I guess that's the spirit of this. And if it's a little bit too detailed, then let's whack it down, but come up with something as a group so that we can all understand the information that's coming before us.
I'm going to comment because I haven't commented yet before Dr. Rivera-Colon and Ms. Lefebvre. So I understand having stuff streamlined for the public and understandable for the public, but I also personally have issues with executive summaries, and it's from issues that we have had over the years. It's issues that we've had during receivership and pre-receivership, that we would get selective storytelling in executive summaries, that we would use terms like overall performance improved, but we never talked about certain subgroups and the inequities that were in certain areas. And I think that there is danger in providing a summary, because we may read, or we should read, the 50-page report that goes along with something. But as we're giving this out to the public, and what's being picked up on social media and what's being picked up by the press is all too often the one page. It's what can be fit in a tweet. And that is, there's just a lot of omission, and we leave out data with that. And I understand, I'm fully supportive in making things understandable for people, but I am just very cautious because of seeing some things that have gone on, and not under these comments are in no means anything that's happened in the past few years working with Mr. Soto, but I think it's something that when you work in these environments, that oftentimes, especially when dealing with data and talking about improvement, that executive summaries often highlight, and we highlight the good that goes out there, but we don't talk about the gaps that persist that are out there, and that we really don't talk about, and we omit the challenges of what are historically marginalized communities sometimes in executive summaries, because we're looking for a one paragraph or a one page or whatever it may be. That's my concern with something like that, and that is my challenges. The access, the points about being able to visually be able to read all of our I'm okay with all of that. It's the fact that we are the summarizing of details that my worry is not necessarily the 10 people sitting at this table, but it's what is pulled out of that and pushed out into our media that could unintentionally not highlight some of the things that we need to highlight, because people aren't going to tune in necessarily to a meeting or do the deep dive. That's my concern with an executive summary on that. I think I had Mrs. Lefebvre and Mrs. Lubold as speakers next.
So, Dr. Rivera-Colon, I think you know, really, I guess there's a lot of things that really need to be addressed, kind of how the school committee is receiving information. And I know you're looking at scheduling a retreat, but I think this is where we all need to bring what we want or what we expect out of this. Especially not currently right now up until June 30th, but even beyond as of July 1st moving forward with the new superintendent. So that way they're also aware of what our expectations are as a committee. Same goes for our goals. As school committee members, same thing. So I'm not sure where we're at in line with that, but if we can just move that along.
Yeah, there should be a poll coming out soon for that to pick the date.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that that is an excellent point about the executive summer being taken out of context. And I totally hear your point on that. And you know, I also feel that if we do feel strongly about standards, that we can certainly hack and edit this. I mean, I think that was the spirit of it, is to say, like, if this doesn't meet your expectations, what will? Because I think the need of standards remains critically important, and I'm not opposed or wedded to even what's there. It's just what is our standard and what should it be, so that people know. And then lastly, I just wanted to correct the record because I was looking at my notes and my dyscalculia got the best of me. It's 125 million, not 2.5 million. So thanks, my learning disability in full display.
Okay, so two things. One is in the context of the executive summary, right? One of the key things was actions being taken to plan next steps, right? I would think that if you had glaring discrepancies, right? I hear absolutely everything you said. I would think that that would kind of be addressed. You know, if there was a particular action that needed to be taken, I think that would be kind of indicative of anything that might be buried in the data. So that's kind of point one. Point two is there is another change to this policy below. It's basically just making the accessibility of getting onto the agenda through contacting the superintendent via email, not just through mail. I just wanted to draw your attention to that as well.
I just want to say that it looks like, of course, I was away for years and coming back to the school board, that it seems like we're lacking also the part of briefing those new members who are coming, and those that are on board are more knowledgeable of certain rules or formats that are being used, including myself. I'm still learning, believe it or not, in 2.5 years, 2 years that I've been here. And I'm glad that we're having this retreat because it'll help us kind of define ways that, you know, we can better communicate or receive what we're getting. Because that's a dangerous moment when somebody can vote on something that is really not briefed enough or understand what is happening. That was something that, you know, I being at the city council, had to do a lot of work on my own to try to figure out the reality and the what could be favorable or detrimental to our community. So I just want to say that I think the retreat would help a lot with what's going on with our processing here. Thank you.
I have an amended motion. I think an amendment to the motion.
An amendment to the okay.
Okay. So, or would it be an amendment? Would be to remove that whole thing about in the interest of transparency. And 1, 2, 3, 4, because I'm going back to agenda. I had agenda format. Refer that back to policies subcommittee for it to be reviewed under CL, administrative reports, which is what we receive. And if we're talking about how we want to receive it, that's where it would be. And then, without that on there, motion for the first read on what's left of it, which is actually
So
about
can
the
I-
agenda.
Okay, so can I,
Or should we just
Just-
refer the whole thing back?
just- so are you indicating that you believe this is falling under the wrong policy?
Yes. That section. The other stuff, like agendas will be posted
Okay,
according,
yeah, I mean,
that's fine. It's
email or
just
mail.
this whole thing from in to sans.
So I would probably recommend that you send it back to policy committee to make the corrections if they didn't put it in the correct policy.
So then that'll be my motion would be to refer BE.
So it's to amend the
BEDD.
motion rather than to post, but to refer back to the
Refer
policy
back.
committee. Is there a second on the motion? On the
I
amendment?
second that.
Any discussion on the amendment to refer back to policy for revision? Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave,
Yes.
Mr. Bar Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Tensley Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Izaza,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Rhea Colon,
Yes.
Mr. Sheehan.
Yes. So that was an amendment, and on the main motion, which is really just the spirit of the amendment that we have to vote again. We only amended the original motion, so now we have to vote on the motion as amended, which is to refer it back. So any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave,
Yes.
Ms. Bar Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Tensley Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Izaza,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Rhea Colon,
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Moving on, the announcements are there. I will now entertain a motion to enter executive session for the purposes of collective bargaining with all units and superintendent contract,
So moved.
and not to
Second that
return
motion.
to open session.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded.
Roll call, please.
Ms. LaFave,
Yes.
Mr. Bar Martinez,
Yes.
Ms. Tensley Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Izaza,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Bo,
Yes.
Mayor Garcia,
Yes.
Dr. Rhea Colon,
Yes.
and Mr. Sheehan.
Yes.